Hi everyone, today we'll be making a coffee bun sandwich. Now the coffee bun sandwich has three main components to it: the coffee bun itself, coffee marinated eggs, and coffee glazed ham. We're going to start with the coffee marinated eggs because it needs to marinate overnight. We begin by pouring 3 to 4 tablespoons of hand ground coffee into a saucepan and fill it up with 3 cups of hot water. Then add in 2 bay leaves, 2 cinnamon sticks, and 6 star anise, and top it off with 2 teaspoons of ground cloves. The main flavoring or saltiness will come from dark soy sauce. We're going to use about a third cup of dark soy sauce. So go ahead and just pour that over the saucepan. And now you want to bring the liquid to a boil before adding in the eggs. We're going to be adding in 8 eggs into our saucepan so that all the eggs are covered completely by the marinade, and boil it for 10 minutes. It's important to make sure that when you're boiling, you're actually just boiling at a temperature where, the mixture is slightly bubbling for 10 minutes. This will make it so the egg yolk is not fully cooked, which also allows it to soak up more of that soy sauce coffee marinade flavor. What you're going to want to do is put the eggs in an ice bath after 10 minutes of hard boiling, and go ahead and peel the eggs right away after 2 minutes in the ice bath. The final step is to filter out the marinade that we boiled the eggs in of all its solids so that it's only the soy sauce coffee mixture left. We'll pour the marinade over the eggs and let it sit in the refrigerator for 24 hours. After 24 hours of marination, you'll see that the coffee egg has been completely dyed brown, and if you cut it into pieces, you'll see that the soy sauce coffee mixture has soaked through the yolk and given the yolk extra flavor. Alright, so the next day we're going to be making the coffee bun and glazed ham. We're actually going to be starting off with the coffee bun filling, which is going to be frozen coffee butter. So in a small bowl, heat up about a stick or half stick, depending on how many coffee buns you're going to make, of butter until it's melted, and add in salt, sugar, and ground coffee. We're going to be freezing this butter mixture so that when we bake the filling inside the coffee bun, the butter won't have already melted and leak out of the coffee bun. It will stay in the coffee bun as butter filling. Next, we will make the dough for the coffee bun. In a large mixing bowl, scoop in 3 cups of flour, crack 2 large eggs, and add in a quarter stick of butter. We'll also add a few tablespoons of sugar. I use monk fruit sugar, so no extra calories, a teaspoon of salt, and about 3 teaspoons of instant yeast. I would also suggest adding in a tablespoon of baking powder to help the dough rise faster, but this step is not necessary if you don't want your bread to be too airy. Finish it off by adding a cup of warm whole milk. We will work the dough for a good 10 minutes, mixing all the ingredients together. If at any point you feel that the dough contains too much liquid or it's too sticky, go ahead and add a little bit of flour. Eventually, after working the dough for a long period of time, the dough will become smooth, and we will proceed to rest the dough for about an hour or until it has doubled in size. The last ingredient to our coffee bun sandwich is coffee glazed ham. We will take about 2 pounds of cured ham and cut off the top layer of fat. Then we will proceed to skewer the ham in a crisscross pattern so that the coffee glaze can get absorbed into the ham. Finally, we will be preheating the chunk of ham in the oven at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes. To make the glaze for the ham, we will start by making 4 shots of coffee espresso. So go ahead and put your ground coffee in an espresso machine. I used medium roast beans, but I would have preferred to use dark roast if I had any, but medium roast works fine. Go ahead and pour your 4 shots of espresso into a saucepan and add in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and add in 1 teaspoon of ground cloves, and add in 2 teaspoons of ground mustard. This should be the holy trinity for spicing up the ham glaze. Next, we'll add in some salt and pepper, about a good tablespoon of honey, and finally a third cup of packed brown sugar. We'll then proceed to heat the sauce over low-medium heat. You'll know the sauce is reduced far enough when you can use a spatula and run it through the sauce, and you'll see it take some time for the sauce to fill back up. That's how you know that the sauce is viscous enough. Next, you'll apply the sauce onto the pre-warmed ham and get a good amount of sauce through all the edges, through the bottom of the ham. And we'll be putting this ham in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we'll take out the ham, put more sauce on it, and bake for an additional 10 minutes. We will repeat this process 3 or 4 times until the ham is completely baked through, and you have this nice, hot, coffee-glazed ham. Alright, back to the coffee bun. Cut the risen dough into 5 equal pieces and add a good chunk of frozen butter into the middle of each dough. Next, you'll want to mold the dough into a patty shape while keeping the frozen butter dead center. We'll rest these dough patties for an additional 30 to 45 minutes while we prepare the icing. For the coffee icing, I'm using a shot of whiskey bourbon and 4 teaspoons of ground coffee plus 4 teaspoons of hot water to dissolve the ground coffee. I'll be honest though, you don't really taste the whiskey, it was just there for aesthetics. The rest of the icing includes 1 whole stick of butter, 1 large egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of 0-calorie sweetener, so in my case monk fruit sugar, and 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. We'll want to mix all these ingredients together in your bowl until you have a curd-like consistency. You'll see chunks of butter just floating around, but that's perfectly fine. Finally, we will add a cup of flour and mix super hard until we get a smooth icing. Once we get the icing consistency, we'll scoop all the icing into a plastic bag and cut off one of the edges so that we can squeeze the icing out of the Ziploc bag. To apply the icing on top of the coffee bun, we'll start in the middle and just swirl around the coffee bun while squeezing the icing onto the top of it. You'll want to get the icing on the entire top surface area of the bun, and this will allow the icing to melt into the bun as it's baking. Now all that's left to do is to bake the coffee buns in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 17 minutes. You'll see that the coffee buns actually expanded about double in size, so make sure you have enough room when you put in the coffee buns in your container that you're baking them in. The coffee exterior is also very crunchy, so you can see here I'm cutting the bun in half, and these coffee buns are actually perfect to eat alone. You don't actually have to eat them as part of a sandwich. They're delicious alone, and you get that salty, sweet, buttery filling in the middle. The crust formed from the icing is also incredibly full of coffee flavor and adds an additional kick of caffeine to your system for the day. I made the sandwich by just adding a few slices of that coffee glazed ham and a marinated coffee egg. Add in a couple slices of butter lettuce for crispness. This sandwich was overloaded with coffee flavor and tasted amazing. If you like the recipe video, please give me a like and/or subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day.